AFTV, James, second game of the season, second win of the season, 6 points on the board, matching up to Manchester City and Brighton start to the season. But the performance wasn't as expected. I think that's the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. But it was a clean sheet away from home at Selhurst Park on a Monday night. Where do we start?
Well, second win, my third watch-along as host, but my first rant, so we'll go into that in a sec. I'm really happy. There are certain grounds, like in the calendar, that I'm like, I don't care what it looks like, come out with 3 points. I think Palace is one of them, Tottenham away, the obvious are like Anfield, Etihad. Yeah. But yeah, I have Selhurst there because, it's not like, I'm not saying West Ham away isn't a hard place to go. Chelsea saw that the other day, and we saw that with the 2-2 draw in April. But it's a big pitch, and I expect to be able to play our football and all that. Selhurst is it's just like an old school ground, and I mean that in the most complimentary of ways. And the fans are brilliant, and they're loud, and it can be consuming, and it's places where teams slip up. How did City win there last year? A penalty in the 60th something minute. And that got them over. Now, we had a red card that, again, we'll talk about in a bit, that really wound me up. But otherwise, look, if I'm ranking this Arsenal performance out of 10, yeah, I'd do well to give them over a 6. But I think there's lots of positives in there, from Rice's performance to, I think, the way we dominated and had them pinned in their final third, that 15-minute spell. We just felt like, surely it's coming, and it nearly did. Eddie nearly scores through his own brilliant work, and then should have scored in the second. And then Martinelli's got a really good open space to try and get us a goal early in the first couple of minutes of the game. So I think Arsenal actually were well worthy of the win, and then credit to the players for just really grinding it out, because I understand we were too within our shell. But actually, I like the way Arsenal weathered that for 10-15 and then did find a way to start to come out a little bit and start to do their defending higher up the pitch. So I can only give credit to the team for their mentality and work ethic to get us through that.
And I think Rice stood out for everyone. His best performance so far in his early Arsenal career.
Yeah, and you got two completely different halves, because the first half we were purring quite literally over, the outside of the boot pass, the switches of play, the chance that Eddie should score comes from him stepping into that sort of number 10 space and going, I want to take control and roll it into my striker. Declan Rice was superb. I loved the celebration as well. And he was really in it. Something happened with his contact lens or whatever, and, he wasn't happy about the red, but he was just fantastic, and asked to do a couple different things. You're the lone 6, when we don't have the ball because Partey's out there, but when we do, shift to the left so Partey can come in. Oh, and then you're the lone 6 in a midfield 3 with a back 5 behind you. Okay, now we're bringing on Jorginho, so can you be a box-to-box and support Havertz when we go along? He had a lot to do, and he did it all immensely. But that's what you sign a £100 million complete midfielder for. That's why I love him. That's why, and this isn't me, going on Caicedo after his debut. It's got nothing to do with that debut. That's why I was always Rice over Caicedo, because I felt he had a more complete nature and could maybe do lots of different things in one game. Whether that proves, whether that opinion lasts a test of time, we'll see. But I thought he was fantastic tonight.
Definitely understand that. And listen, at the end, we was under pressure. I think we defended well in general. But let's talk about why we were under pressure, why you were so rattled on the watch along. The referees, to be honest, I've known you for a good 2-3 years now, and I haven't seen you that irate about something so much as the what is an incorrect decision. Now I've watched it back. At the time I watched it and thought, well, Tomiyasu hasn't appealed initially that it wasn't a foul, so I thought he must have touched him. Having watched it back, there was nothing in it. And, it could have cost us a couple of points, if not 3 at the end. Yeah,
and I think there's some things to caveat and say, and this isn't me reversing on my opinion. I absolutely wholeheartedly stand by everything I said. But what I would say is, people can make mistakes. They're human beings, and that's fine. But what's more frustrating is 2 things. VAR was brought in to help eradicate the mistakes, firstly. And we are now hearing about a set of rules and a set of basically approaches from referees that is basically designed to protect them more and relieve them of more accountability. So you saw how easily Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta and other managers have been booked already this season for protesting. Now, the idea that we're going to give you yellow cards sooner for time wasting, I think is good. I think that's right. I like that. But there's got to be common sense applied with any rule in football, with anything. Are people telling me that Tomiyasu, hesitating on a throw-in and getting turned by Ayew, who then dives, is worthy of a red card? Never in a million years. Now, David Coote, who's given the red card, I personally think he's guessed. Or if he's seen something, he can't have seen it clearly enough because on the replays, we haven't seen anything. But where I also feel sorry for him is the way the way VAR is implemented is that we're not going to get involved in yellows. Yeah, we're not getting involved in yellows. Why? Because we're only getting involved in the big ones. It's a massive one. It's resulting in a red. Okay, maybe the odd innocuous yellow don't get involved in, but have a word with him at half time or in his mind, go, just so you know, that was a bit of a soft one, keep that in mind for the next foul. These kind of things. There's a way to officiate the game properly without having to go by hard set rules. Use some common sense, understand. Tomiyasu, you mentioned you didn't protest. I agree, I watched about he didn't protest at all, but because it was so innocuous that I don't think he even felt the need, let me get back into my shape. So I just think they've had another shocker, and by the way, all weekend, Romero handball. Yeah. I think Lissandro Martinez gets away with a potential penalty. Tim Ream, I don't think should be sent off for the Fulham one against Brentford. McAllister's not a red card. So I'm talking about my rivals here as well here. And then, there's others like Aged and Nunes who got red cards. Absolutely stonewall reds. Fair, well done. But come on, when you're implementing rules that say, well, we're going to book you if you protest, and we basically don't want you challenging anything we say, and we're going to be much harder on these things, we'll be hard on yourselves as well. And that's what really winds me up, because the standard is still at a point where it's potentially ruining games. And Arsenal did very well to come through that.
And last question, because we did come through it, we did get the points, but Tomiyasu will be missing for the next game. Zinchenko probably slots in. With Zinchenko in, do you expect to see Partey retain his right-back position, or do you expect it to revert back to last season's back four because Zinni will be the one moving into midfield?
I'd be amazed if Arteta double inverts, which is against what I was saying in the beginning of summer, which I said that was going to be his next thing. But he's not done it once in pre-season. He hasn't done it in any of these two games. So I think he's got to bring Partey back in, or he drops Partey and he goes for that same midfield three. But we're talking about, we had a very lively debate on the watch-along about it. What does Havertz bring? And while I didn't like the attention was on Havertz, I thought did fine today, not a lot, but did fine. I also agree he's not doing enough for me to think Partey should be the one losing his place. Get Rice getting forward. He showed some of that today. Definitely showed some of that against Forest. Revert more to last season's stuff. Get Zinchenko in that team. I think we've missed in these last two games, Innie.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree. Love James.
Love man.
Nice
Cheers.
one.
Welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast.
Black, white, young, old, Lee's on there. Disabled, abled, man. It doesn't.
Smith Rowe didn't get a minute yesterday. Not a minute that needs minutes. Where's he going to get his minutes from now? Get your notifications on, ladies and gentlemen. Tactical's out tomorrow.
I think the idea of Mesut Ozil was better than the actual reality of Ozil at Arsenal.
Your mic, not turn your camera off.
For the audio listeners, Lee's in pieces. Lee's in pieces.
Sorry about that.